on a day like this, we can also take renewed strength from our past and from a great legacy of Islamic accomplishment in pursuing educational excellence. That legacy has been long, and it has been an inspiration to me, even from the time when I succeeded my late grandfather as Imam in 1957, when I was a university student at Harvard. That's some time ago. My grandfather, Sir Sultan Muhammad Shah Aga Khan, was deeply aware of Islam's rich intellectual heritage. Of equal significance, he was also convinced of the enormous importance of higher education for the future of the Ummah around the world. It was this tradition that I inherited from my grandfather, and it was not a static tradition, but one that was built around the power of new knowledge and the great adventure of learning how to go on learning.
This approach to education, so clearly articulated by the Imam, is rooted in the Quran, in the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, of Imam Ali, and the subsequent Imams. Over the course of past 1400 years of Muslim history, this Muslim ethic has also led to a deep commitment to the search for knowledge, leading to a flourishing range of disciplines, from philosophy to science to architecture. Let us take you through the concept of knowledge societies from the past to the present.
The notion of a knowledge society is not new to Muslim cultures and societies. Baitul Hikmah, one of the first influential research centers, was established in Baghdad in the 9th century and served a similar purpose. Its main task was to gather and study the best available sources of knowledge of the time so that they could be used for the benefit of the state and the Ummah. Scholars gathered in Baitul Hikmah to study and translate philosophical and scientific works of the Greek, Roman, Persian and Indian heritage. However, their job was not only to translate these works but also by relating them to their Islamic heritage to produce new knowledge.
This new knowledge was then advanced and furthered in new directions by scholarship in many institutions across the Muslim empires. One of the most distinguished is Dar al-Ilm. Let's have a look.
Dar al-Ilm was founded by Imam al-Hakim di Amrullah alayhi salam in Cairo in 1005 and served as an academy where a variety of subjects were taught, including mathematics, philosophy, astronomy, logic, grammar and history, as well as religious subjects such as Quran, the Hadith and jurisprudence. The Dar al-Ilm was equipped with a large library that included hundreds of thousands of volumes and was open to people from different religious persuasion, who were also provided with free paper, pens, ink and inkstands for their scholarly pursuit. Let's have a look.
Moving on, Fatimid period, the golden age of Ismailism. Wondering why the Fatimid period was called the golden age? There are many useful and memorable contributions our Fatimid Imams have made to Islam and the whole world. Let us explore together Al-Azhar University, which was established during this golden age of Ismailism, one of the most influential centers of Islamic learning for more than a millennium.
During the Fatimid period, Imam al-Muizz salam founded the city of Cairo as his new Egyptian capital and built Al-Azhar as the city's main congregational mosque in 972 CE. Al-Azhar became an important center of learning, commonly regarded as one of the world's earliest universities and one of the oldest centers of higher learning. Let's explore.
Muslim scholars reached pinnacles of achievement in astronomy, philosophy, physics, geography, mathematics, and especially in medicine. The next presentation will try to shed a light on a few works that have been carried out by the Muslim scholars in the past.
Al-Biruni was well versed in physics, mathematics, astronomy, and natural sciences, and also distinguished himself as a historian, chronologist, and linguist. Diagram illustrating a method proposed and used by Al-Biruni to estimate the radius and circumference of the Earth. An illustration from Al-Biruni's astronomical works explains the different phases of the moon. Abu Nasr al-Farabi was a renowned early Islamic philosopher and jurist who wrote in the fields of political philosophy, metaphysics, ethics, and logic. Al-Farabi on the currency of the Republic of Kazakhstan. He was also a scientist, cosmologist, mathematician, and music scholar. In Islamic philosophical tradition, he was often called the second teacher, following Aristotle, who was known as the first teacher. Through his works, he became well known in the West as well as the East. Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Idrisi, also known as Ash-Sharif al-Idrisi, was one of the greatest geographers and cartographers in the 12th century CE. Al-Idrisi was commissioned by Roger II to construct a map of the known world. Using 400,000 drachmas worth of silver, he then created multiple spheres, mounting and amalgamating one on the other, then sculpting and engraving it into a three-dimensional map of the world. He created the Tabula Rogeriana, one of the most advanced medieval world maps used by explorers like Christopher Columbus and Vasco da Gama for their discoveries and voyages. Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi, one of the first directors of the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, was one of the greatest scientific minds of the medieval period and a most important Muslim mathematician who was also known as the father of algebra. Al-Khwarizmi's contribution to mathematics, geography, astronomy, and cartography established the basis of innovation in algebra and trigonometry. His systematic approach to solving linear and quadratic equations led to algebra. Abu al-Qasim Khalaf ibn al-Abbas al-Zahrawi al-Ansari, popularly known as al-Zahrawi, was a physician, surgeon, and chemist. Considered to be the greatest surgeon of the Middle Ages, he has been described as the father of surgery. Al-Zahrawi's pioneering contribution to the field of surgical procedures and instruments had an enormous impact in the East and West well into the modern period, where some of his discoveries are still applied in medicine to this day. He pioneered the use of catgut for internal stitches, and his surgical instruments are still used today. Al-Zahrawi introduced over 200 surgical instruments, which include, among others, different kinds of scalpels, retractors, curettes, pincers, specula, and also instruments designed for his favored techniques of cauterization and ligature. He also invented hooks with a double tip for use in surgery. Many of these instruments were never used before by any previous surgeons. Abu al-Qasim Abbas ibn Firnas was an Andalusian polymath, an inventor, physician, chemist, engineer, Andalusian musician, Arabic language poet, and a pioneer of aviation. Among other very curious experiments which he made, one is his trying to fly. He covered himself with feathers for this purpose, attached a couple of wings to his body, and getting on an eminence, flung himself down into the air. Firnas made the first known controlled human flight many years before the Wright brothers. His achievement was recognized in 1979 by the Working Group for Planetary Systems Nomenclature, when they named a crater on the moon Ibn Firnas in his honor. Abu Moin Hamid al-Din Nasir ibn Khusro was born in modern Tajikistan in 1004 AD and worked for the Seljuk Sultanate as a financial administrator until 1046, when he was inspired to undertake the pilgrimage to Mecca. Almost 7 years after he set out, by which time he had compiled a detailed journal of his travels through the Islamic world. Khusro set about compiling his extensive notes into the Safarnama, known in English as the Book of Travels. Khusro's travelogue is respected as one of the most influential pieces of Persian travel writing and remains a valuable historical source for its detailed descriptions of the places he visited. Written in eloquent prose rather than verses that makes Khusro one of the most important poets in Persian literature, the Safarnama presents accounts of both the architecture and the daily life of the places he visited, interspersed with both anecdotes and spiritual reflections. The book is still read by modern-day Persian speakers. Islam has its own golden history almost in every sector of knowledge. In the areas of astronomy, chemistry, mathematics, philosophy, geography, and physics, which constitute the basis of modern science and technology.
So as you can imagine, this Islamic world, these empires between the 8th and the 13th centuries, it was actually a very powerful bridge of human knowledge. Thus, the pursuit of knowledge in Ismaili history has produced artists, scientists, and philosophers. Our present Imam, in the past 60 years, keeping with this heritage, has invested heavily in education, from preschool centers to universities. He has also set up several institutions to help provide education to different regions of the world. The Imam, like his predecessors, believed that education is the only way to improve the quality of life, as it enables the Jamaat to understand the world and to find resolution to life's problems through creative solution to the challenges that we face. The Imam established the Aga schools, academies, universities, and many other institutions of education in various countries based on the contemporary models of education. Let us explore the Ismaili Imamat's contemporary institutions in education.
Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah launched a very essential activity by setting up over 100 schools across East Africa and South Asia. With the assistance from the education services, Hazrat Imam established multiple daycare centers, higher secondary schools, and much more to further uphold and magnify the initial initiative. Moreover, this expansion allows students with potential in new areas to reap these benefits. Now, there are over 200 operative schools spread across Pakistan, Bangladesh, Kenya, Kyrgyz Republic, Uganda, Tanzania, and Tajikistan under the guidance and support of Aga Khan Education Services. From pre-primary to higher secondary, the Diamond Jubilee School, the Aga Khan School, the Aga Khan Higher Secondary School offer a variety of courses for all age group and ethnicity. Speaking of which, let us now take a virtual tour of the various Aga Khan schools across the globe.
In the year 2000, Maulana Hazar Imam established new programs to create a special network of schools called the Aga Khan Academies to operate in a number of countries in Africa, South and Central Asia. Their mission is to educate students from the preschool level to higher secondary education, aiming to provide education which is of very high international standards, with the hope to create a new generation of leaders who will be of service to their countries and communities. The first Aga Khan Academy opened in Mombasa, Kenya in August 2003. The second, in Hyderabad, India, began operating in 2011, and the third Aga Khan Academy opened in Maputo, Mozambique in 2013. Let us take you through a tour of the beautiful academies.
In 1983, Maulana Hazar Imam founded the Aga Khan University in Pakistan. Its aim was to promote welfare of people by spreading knowledge. Over the years, AKU has expanded its programs and has branches in Pakistan, East Africa, and Britain, which includes the Institute for the Study of Muslim Civilization, further to the study of Muslim societies. Another university which Imam has founded, that is the University of Central Asia, based in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyz Republic and Tajikistan, to promote social and economic development of communities living in mountain regions of Central Asia.
More than ever, the world needs new ideas and leaders to solve the problems that divide us, to relieve poverty and create a secure future for everyone. That's the unique mission of the Aga Khan University. With campuses on 3 continents, it delivers world-class education where there was none before, and produces graduates that truly make a difference.
But the ethos that was instilled in us, that no matter what you do, it should have social relevance. It should change and influence societies.
Cutting-edge research is a feature of all great universities. But at the Aga Khan University, science focuses on what matters most. In Africa, there's no bigger problem than the thousands of mothers who die in childbirth. So the university is testing a portable ultrasound device that would change that forever. It's just one example of how Aga Khan University graduates and researchers are addressing the problems that affect the most vulnerable. And the solutions don't have to be high-tech. Working with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and other partners, the university has shown that training local women to promote vaccines and encourage better hygiene and nutrition can save millions of lives. The university is also improving the quality of teaching in parts of the world where there is a desperate need. Because more than ever, a safer world requires giving fresh hope to the young, and change has to begin in the earliest years. The university's Institute for Educational Development has enhanced the skills of a generation of outstanding educators, and they are now leading the push for change. In Uganda, for example, 1,000 high school principals have been trained in better school management. Exam results are already on the rise. The university uses the same approach to upgrade the skills of nurses and midwives, the backbone of healthcare in the developing world. More than 6,000 have graduated from the university's 4 nursing campuses, taking leadership roles in the public health systems of 11 countries. At the Aga Khan University, more than half of the graduates and more than half of the faculty are women. Growing up in Afghanistan, Danya Moghul had to overcome a lot in her quest for an education.
I need to carry my books in a bag that no one should know that I am going to school. A basic right I cannot have.
Now she is the country's first female paediatric surgeon. It's an example of how the Aga Khan University is a symbol of long-term stability in a volatile world. More than ever, all our futures are intertwined. And more than ever, we need individuals and institutions with the courage and capacity to break down barriers, to embrace the diversity and tolerance that brings out the very best in humanity, and to make real what we know is possible.
The mission and objectives of the University of Central Asia is to focus on the education of mountain societies. In fact, UCA is probably the only university in the world that is focused on the education of mountain societies.
This campus seems to have everything that you would think it needs. It's got a beautiful library, it's got great eating facilities, it's got dormitories, it's got classrooms, and everything is state of the art. Everything here is the way you would get it. This place is designed to make it easy to study. One of the things that caught my attention is how many of these students are not looking for an escape hatch. They're not looking for a ripcord. They're not here to get out. This is not their ticket out of Central Asia. They want to improve Central Asia. Their whole idea is, how do I make it better? How do I bring some of the things that I know exist elsewhere in the world, some of the comforts and some of the improvements that'll make people feel more prosperous and improve their standard of living? And I think that's fascinating. So many times when you come from an isolated area, a university is your ticket out. They're not looking for a ticket out. They're looking for a ticket up.
What this university is all about is not only the power of education, but also the power of international cooperation. It is a power that can change people's lives. It is important to know that what we are doing here will be a valuable example of international cooperation for the future, not only here in the region, but also for people far beyond the region.
In 1997, Maulana Hazar Imam established the Institute of Ismaili Studies in London, England, to become an international center for research and teaching on the philosophy, history and modern-day lives of Ismailis and other Muslims. The IIS produces large amount of books, manuscripts and other materials. The IIS also produces educational material for Ismaili students around the world. Additionally, the IIS also trains teachers and wa'azins for Ismaili religious education systems.
Just a few examples of the Imamat's educational endeavors, not to mention other educational institutions such as the Aga Khan Program for Architecture at Harvard and MIT, the Award for Architecture, the Global Center for Pluralism, the Aga Khan Museum, and so on. All these Imamat's endeavors directly impacts our quality of life as well as our perception towards education, knowingly or sometimes unbeknownst to us. Stay with us to have a look at some of these endeavors.
think the center has to help educate. It has to help reach out to populations. It has to help bring people together to discuss these issues, to discuss the challenges that we face today through its research, through the seminars it organizes, through its discussion with political leaders, encourage pluralism, tolerance, and understanding.
.330 Sussex is a historic building in the heart of the ceremonial district of Ottawa. It has a history of the country's memory. It was the Dominion Archives. It has a history as a war museum, and it is now being converted into one of the most important values that Canada can now project into the world as the headquarters of the Global Centre for Pluralism. It is the board's aspiration that the building become a center for thoughtful exchange, for radiating partnerships, for concentrating energy and ideas around this important issue of pluralism. And that the building become a vibrant center of activity that allows us to continue to expand the boundaries of the possible in relation to an increasingly diverse world becoming increasingly pluralist as well.
I've seen situations where people would argue about events that happened 150 years ago as if it was yesterday and fight over it, realizing that there are many other things that they could agree on that unites us, values that we share, that we should stress.
I have found often in my life this, people expect you to define yourself. What are you? Who are you? Where are you from? And I can't do that personally. And therefore, people who don't accept that, who seem shocked or surprised or upset, I recognize in them an absence of understanding of pluralism. So it's personally important to me. But it's also important because every country that I've ever lived in and ever worked in has a multitude of different traditions and different ethnicities, and this is something that makes the beauty of our world. And I want my children to grow up in a world where the 140 nationalities in their school understand each other and live together in peace.
for early childhood development, education to lifelong learning. As one of the Diamond Jubilee objectives, Maulana Hazar Imam had indicated his desire that there be 100% access to early childhood education for the global Jamaat. He wants to ensure that for every child, key developmental milestones are met in the important stages of childhood to ensure young children a better start in life. Let's have a look.
Our earliest years lay critical foundations for life. Yet worldwide, 250 million children aged 5 and under are not reaching their potential. For over 30 years, the Aga Khan Development Network has worked with governments and communities to ensure that young children get a better start in life. This means influencing the environment in which children are growing up so that it's supportive of their overall development. A good start means healthy pregnancy, safe delivery, nurturing bonds, and proper nutrition. It means children growing up happy, healthy, confident and caring, with lots of opportunities to explore and learn. To help build an environment that supports young children and their families, the network undertakes activities across cultural, social, and economic spheres. Culture is central to our environment. It shapes our values and sense of identity, and influences how we communicate and understand the world. Learning begins at home, and family members are children's first and most important teachers. And beyond the home, children need places where they can learn about their culture and history, where their local languages and materials are valued, where their families can gather with neighbors and community. How does the network create such places? By building parks and gardens in densely populated cities, transmitting and developing musical heritage, and creating access to storybooks in local languages. Society also makes up our environment. Children look to the people around them for care, guidance, knowledge, and inspiration. At home, do parents and caregivers provide them an environment of warmth and security? In daycare and preschool, do teachers develop their creativity and curiosity? When they are sick or injured, are there qualified health professionals within reach? How does the network respond to such needs? By working with parents and caregivers, training and mentoring teachers, increasing access to nutritious foods, clean water and better hygiene, and upgrading the skills and accreditation of nurses and midwives, which in turn raises the overall quality of maternal and child healthcare delivery. The network also undertakes a broad range of economic development activities that help reduce poverty and create an environment in which young children can thrive. These activities include investments in large power generation projects to help schools and hospitals stay lit and operational, and workplace wellness programs that serve employees and their families, including on-site creche services, clinics, and children's libraries. It's all about creating the building blocks for people to reach their full potential. How we fare in our early years can influence so much the rest of our lives. Do we grow into healthy lifelong learners? Are we confident in our abilities to interact effectively with the world and contribute to society? Getting things right in early childhood eliminates or reduces many problems that can develop later in life. Which is why it's so crucial for society, from as many spheres as possible, to invest in strong early childhood programming and institutions. Only then will future generations enjoy greater equity, and will societies be healthier, happier, more stable, tolerant, and prosperous.
From the time of Prophet until today, education and the pursuit of knowledge can be seen as a continuous search at every stage of life, with the intent to seek to understand Allah's creation and ensure that knowledge and wisdom are shared with those in need. By doing so, we can improve the quality of life, serve humanity, and leave the world in a better place.
How can we prepare for the future knowledge society? Today, the need to become an active part of the contemporary knowledge society is urgent and critical. Access to good education, The capacity to carry out cutting-edge research in various fields and to develop new knowledge is vital. To strive for knowledge and be part of the knowledge society is a responsibility that we as Muslims have inherited from our faith and our history. It is a responsibility that we must fulfill to ensure a better future for the generations to come.
This Imam Day, we vow with our hands on our hearts. Not later, not tomorrow, but today we will start this journey to continuously educate and learn. Because to offer a humble Nazrana to Mullah is now our turn. Not much, but an hour a day is enough. Because we all know that knowledge is power.
Knowledge is